After a man did something bad, he seemed to see some strange things. What kind of devil could it be that gave the man the ability to give birth? The story starts with Nita. Her life was very miserable. Her father had a large debt before he passed away. After his death, the creditors kept pressuring Nita to repay the debt. They even resorted to violence. Nita promised them that within 3 days, she would repay all the debt, but this was an impossible task. She had to take care of her young brother and deal with the harassment. Every night, Nita would have nightmares. In her dreams, she was trapped in a closed room, and there were demons wreaking havoc in the dream. This left her restless. To completely resolve this debt, Nita decides to take extreme measures with her boyfriend Jay by stealing from a wealthy family, so they wouldn't have to worry about repaying the debt. Jay's friend, Madhav, opposes, because he was worried about Nita's joining. It will become a hidden danger in their actions. Nita had already anticipated this. Long ago, she had recorded their conversation about the theft. She threatened Madhav that if he didn't agree, she would expose their secret. Despite his concerns, Nita was firm, leaving him no choice but to agree. Jay promised to give all the stolen loot, give it all to Nita to pay off her debts. However, he asked her not to participate in the theft. Faced with Jay's proposal, Nita refused. Jay was left with no choice. He had no choice but to take Nita with him on the road. At this moment, Madhav's girlfriend, Fong Fong, warned Nita to delete the recording. Nita immediately complied, expressing her position. She actually didn't want to resort to this plan, but she desperately needed money now. Although Madhav was reluctant, he still drove towards the destination. Thus, this difficult journey began. Madhav and Fong Fong took turns driving, enduring a 24-hour journey. Finally, the group arrived at a mansion. They used inside information to know that the homeowner is not at home today, but they still patiently waited until evening. Nita, who was resting in the car, had a nightmare, which startled the others as well. However, their equipment was limited, with only 3 walkie-talkies. Therefore, Nita needed to act with Jay. The 3 of them climbed over the gate, confirming that no one was inside the house. Madhav immediately went to explore the second floor, leaving Jay and Nita in charge of the first floor. Jay cautioned Nita that although this family is wealthy, they need to exercise restraint and not be greedy. The 2 of them started searching separately and made quite a fruitful discovery. However, while Nita was focused on searching for valuables, for some unknown reason, the door suddenly closed. Nita didn't pay much attention to it, and continued to take the emerald bracelet from the drawer, completely ignoring Jay's advice. On the other side, Jay accidentally discovered a female head in the wardrobe, and he was terrified, sitting on the ground. At the same time, a shadow passed behind Nita, and Nita sensed it. She followed the shadow, entering another area. Jay was anxious to find Nita, and they met at the entrance to the basement. Jay was puzzled about who the shadow was, as it appeared to be his younger brother, Xiaoba. Despite knowing that Xiaoba was inside the rental house, Nita insisted on investigating anyway. Disregarding Jay's advice, she walked into the basement. While on the second floor, Madhav, during his search, accidentally found a large mirror. He saw his reflection in the mirror, and his stomach had grown to the size of a pregnant woman's. This terrified Madhav. Jay and Nita, inside the basement, found a woman lying on the ground. The woman said her name was Nadi, and she pleaded for Jay and Nita to save her. Jay didn't know what to do, but soon he made up his mind, and he approached to rescue Nadi. Although they were habitual thieves, but they were not bad people. However, Nita felt it was inappropriate. In her opinion, it was not suitable to rescue someone without understanding the situation. Jay thought she had a point, so he asked Nadi why she ended up in such a situation. Nadi cried and said someone was trying to kill her. Jay and Nita were shocked. They suspected, is there anyone else in the room? Jay quickly asked, who wanted to harm her? Nadi was too frightened to speak, so Jay had to untie the rope around her wrist first. Unexpectedly, the rope started heating up rapidly, and it burned Jay. This puzzled the people present. Jay wanted to try again, but the outcome remained the same. Nadi cried intensely, and Jay couldn't suppress his compassionate heart, but he was burned by the rope, and fell to the ground screaming. Nita saw that her boyfriend couldn't handle it, so she grabbed an axe, and cut the rope. The 2 of them then lifted Nadi out of the iron nail array. They just left. The person sitting in the corner moved their fingers, carrying Nadi. The 2 of them went back to the first floor, and they encountered Madhav. Madhav asked what was going on, but they didn't have time to answer. Nita rushed to the door first, but to their surprise, when they opened the door, There was a solid stone wall outside. Just a short while ago, they had just walked through this door. How was there suddenly a wall there? They were truly puzzled. At that moment, Nita felt dizzy. Madhav quickly went to open another door, but the result was the same. As everyone fell into confusion, Xiaofang drove her car to the door to pick them up. She contacted Jay through the walkie-talkie. Nita took the walkie-talkie and talked to Xiaofang, asking Xiaofang to wait for a moment. She also switched on the lights in the room. However, Madhav was agitated at this moment, completely uninterested in conversation. He was just kicking the walls in frenzy, his actions becoming more and more intense, until he accidentally discovered a hidden gas canister inside a cabinet. He immediately took out the gas canister, attempting to ignite it to blast open an exit. This was undoubtedly an extremely dangerous act, which could even jeopardize his own safety. Fortunately, at the critical moment, they managed to jump aside in time. However, even with such an explosion, the stone wall remained solid as ever. Madhav was puzzled by this. He thinks Nita must be behind this. Looking back at the past, they had visited many houses together, yet had never encountered such strange occurrences. Faced with Madhav's questioning, Nita didn't respond. At this moment, Madhav snatched the package from Nita's hand, and discovered a large amount of valuables inside. This clearly violated their principles. Madhav feels that Nita is a troublemaker, but Nita defends herself, saying she is not a thief. Jay speaks up to mediate, urging them all to calm down, emphasizing that the top priority is to find a way out. Nita follows Madhav to explore together, hoping to find a new way out. In a spacious bedroom, they unexpectedly find a family lineage document. The girl Nadi, whom they rescued, seems to be the heir of this family. On the other side, Jay sees Nadi muttering something, so he approaches her, wanting to hear what she is saying. To his surprise, Nadi's eyes suddenly undergo a transformation, eyes turning pale, then being replaced by a pitch-black color. Afterward, she spits out a small insect that attacks Jay. At this moment, Nadi has transformed into a demon. Jay falls into an illusion. He was so scared that he burst into tears. At this moment, Madhav hears the commotion, and quickly rushes over to see what's happening. However, Nadi seems unwilling to let go of Jay. She laughs and tells everyone that today everyone will die. Jay's hallucinations worsen. This made him think that the Madhu in front of him was Nadi. He believes that he must kill Nadi to end everything. They immediately engage in a close-quarters fight. Madhav has no choice but to defend himself passively, because Jay is his good friend and he knows that Jay is facing some issues. Nadi continues to cast spells on the side, preventing everyone from ever leaving the mansion. On this side, Madhav struggles to break free, and can only quickly escape from this dangerous room. Jay chases him closely from behind, completely losing his self-awareness. On the other side, Fong Fong enters the courtyard holding a walkie-talkie, but she is actually talking to Nadi, while the voice belongs to Jay. Nadi frees up her hand to deal with Fong Fong, appearing mysteriously, and scaring Fong Fong by suddenly appearing in front of her. Furthermore, she thoroughly enjoys this sensation. Fong Fong throws a punch, but the harder she tries, the happier Nadi becomes. As Fong Fong's attacks don't cause her any harm, Fong Fong exerts force, causing Nadi's head to rotate 360 degrees. But even so, Nadi continues to coldly smile at Fong Fong. Fong Fong is terrified, and starts running as fast as she can. But how can she outrun a demon? Before she can run far, she falls to the ground, killed by Nadi. Nita enters a room, but is suddenly grabbed from behind, with a large hand pressing against her forehead. She immediately loses consciousness. A man named Kurt drags Jay inside as well. He takes out some powder, and sprinkles it on Jay's head. Then he does the same to Nita. After a while, Jay and Nita wake up from unconsciousness. Kurt reveals that he just saved them. Nadi had just cast a spell on them, causing them to have hallucinations, and almost leading them to suicide. Kurt asks Jay why he rescued Nadi. Jay honestly admits that he came to steal valuables, but accidentally encountered Nadi, and instinctively intervened to save her. However, he never expected things to become so complicated. Kurt gets angry, emphasizing that Nadi is an extremely dangerous individual, and her evil power exceeds imagination. Jay is astonished, and he asks Kurt who he really is. Kurt proudly declares himself as a descendant of the ancient royal family. 20 years ago, he was tasked with capturing those evil individuals with supernatural powers. Just 2 days ago, he arrived at this mansion. He struggled to trap Nadi. He planned to defeat her completely, after regaining his strength. However, his plan was disrupted by Jay's unexpected intervention. Jay and Nita were skeptical about Kurt's story. Kurt further explains, in the history of Nadi's family, There was an ancestor with evil supernatural abilities. It was Kurt's own ancestors who defeated that ancestor. In revenge, Nadi's ancestors cast a curse, stating that the power must be passed down through generations, and now it has fallen upon Nadi. His mission is to completely end Nadi. Hearing this, Jay and Nita finally realize the magnitude of the trouble they have caused. Kurt adds, if they want to truly kill Nadi, they must retrieve the lost Malay short sword from over 100 years ago. Only with the help of this weapon can they accomplish this task. Fortunately, Kurt says that he can already sense that the short sword is inside this mansion. Shortly after, he points to a cave entrance and indicates that the short sword is inside, so the three of them start climbing down. Nita suddenly discovers in shock that this place is actually the secret chamber that often appears in her dreams. Kurt feels that Nita is not an ordinary person. Nita suddenly starts singing a folk song and walks straight towards a wall. Take down the Malay dagger that has been sealed for a long time. It seems Nita truly has remarkable abilities. Suddenly, a loud noise, and the stone wall sealing the mansion collapses instantly. The group hurriedly runs outside. At that moment, Nadi popped out of nowhere again. Her evil power strengthened once more. Kurt is no longer able to defeat her, and even to let Nita and Jay escape first. He was killed by Nadi on the spot. On the other side, Nadi unexpectedly summons a group of zombies. Jay doesn't have time to escape, and is bitten to death by the zombies. Nita becomes furious. She takes the Malay short sword, and kills all the zombies. Finally, she defeats Nadi, and thus, the movie ends. Satan's Lair was released in 2024. The film is filled with horror elements. Nita is trying to repay her debts, along with her boyfriend, Jay, and another couple, Mad and Fong Fong. They decide to burglarize an abandoned mansion. At first, everything goes smoothly. After they came to the inside of the mansion, things start to become mysterious and confusing. They unintentionally unleash the demon Nadi from her seal. With the help of Kurt, they manage to escape the danger in the end. In the first half of the movie, a lot of local horror elements are incorporated, making many viewers breathless. The plot and storyline are also coherent, and the characters are well developed. The characteristics are distinct, but as the movie progresses to the second half, the movie's style feels shifting towards comedy and martial arts. The horror elements are reduced. However, considering the overall picture as a new type of horror thriller, it still has many highlights. If you enjoy my channel, please consider subscribing.